Here we are on Easton's Beach in Newport, and it's after 5 in the morning. We've gone over like 4:30 in the morning, especially for this, because we've come here to see the sunrise.
Yes. Of course. I've wanted to do this for so many years. I did this once when I was 10 and then I never did it again. No one would do it with me.
Now you've got pictures on.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see the sun starting to come up just there, so I don't think we've got much longer to wait now.
That way. Oh, I see her big time.
There it is, there's the sun rising. Absolutely worth getting up at 4 in the morning for this. Don't you think so?
Of course. And I get to share it with you.
Yeah.
So if you find yourself in New York traffic and disturbed with all the congestion, you lay on your horn and you're speaking Naragansett.
We're on another cruise where we're on the...
And quahog! That's our official state clam, believe it or not. You ever know what a quahog is? Giant clam?
You looking forward
I was just reading last week, our
Cool.
correct state legislature introduced legislation last year that actually passed the House. It was defeated in the Senate.
Smile, you're on
We named
camera.
calamari our official state appetizer. Did you read that? Yeah. Fortunately, it was defeated. Not that I have anything against calamari, but these folks need something more to do up there. Yeah. Well, the Narragansett Indians actually use those quahog shells for wampum. Did you ever hear that expression? How much did that television set cost you? Oh, it set me back 400 clams. We think they're referring to the quahog shells that the Narragansetts were using. So we're out entering into Newport Harbor now.
You had a license?
No,
You can see some beautiful boats out here today.
you do.
It's crazy.
But think back 374 years ago when Newport was first founded, and what soon this waterfront became. There were 150 wharves up and down the waterfront here, and there was a cacophony of sound, smells, sights, sea merchants, whalers, shipbuilders, pirates, importers, exporters, women of the night, whoever those were. And we quickly grew to be one of the 5 largest cities in the early colonies. There was Charleston, South Carolina, Philadelphia, Boston, New York, and Newport.
Mark, is it alright? We put you...
Get a closer look at them. You see all the moorings out here. There are about 1,000 of these moorings. 1/3 of them are reserved for transient boaters. The other 2/3 are for locals here in Newport. The good news is they only go for $300 for the season, and that's a tremendous bargain compared to, well, how about land rentals? Or how about San Diego and San Francisco, where a mooring will cost anywhere from $1,500 and up. So that's the good news. The bad news is you can't really get one. There's a 15-year waiting list. They're passed down from generation to generation. You can't lease them. You can't sell them. Only owner occupied. And as a result, quite a few of these boats are lived on all year round. and they become the most valuable part of your financial portfolio for the lucky few who have a mooring here in Newport. Living aboard the Farallone is a gentleman named Catboat John. He lives with his cat Boo. Looks like John's sleeping in this morning. Well, that boat was used to transport prisoners from downtown San Francisco to Alcatraz back in the 1920s. So that would have been El Capone's last ride. He had a one-way ticket out to the Big Rock. We're going to see quite a few lighthouses on our journey today. The first of which is the former Lime Rock Lighthouse, the small little lighthouse, dark green above the green and white awning. It's now the home of the Ida Lewis Yacht Club. And if you look at the top of that mast, you see their burgee. And the burgee is the red flag flying above these yacht clubs. And there are 18 stars on the Ida Lewis Yacht Club's burgee, commemorating the 18 lives that Ida, the youngest lighthouse keeper in the United States, and the only female in the 19th century, she's credited with saving those 18 lives. She was a true American heroine, received medals of bravery from Congress. In fact, President USS Grant made a special trip to Newport, and Ida, dressed in her Sunday finest, rode into Newport and received the medals, and thank you very much, rode back and kept tending that lighthouse, which she did for 50 years. There's a somewhat apocryphal story of one night hearing the cries of a drowning soldier. Probably had a little too much fun. Well, I was not holding her night clothes, so she wrapped a towel around her neck to help hoist him out of the water. She rowed out, got him, brought him back to safety, revived him, and the next week there were articles in the New York Times and Harper's Weekly attesting to Ida's bravery. Had a little drawing of Ida with the towel around her neck. Well, it just so happens, if you look at women's fashions, home of Felix de Weldon. Did you ever hear of Felix de Weldon, anyone? You probably best know him from his monumental sculpture of the Marines raising the flag at Iwo Jima, which is currently in Arlington National Cemetery. He designed that, plus close to 2,000 other of these monumental sculptures located in all 7 continents, including one of Admiral Byrd down in Antarctica. Well, Beacon Rock is now it's owned by a litigation attorney, so I have to be kind of quiet. I don't want to get in trouble. But he'll rent that out for you. Anyone care to guess how much for a month's rent in the summer here in Newport? $10,000. What else am I bid?
$25,000.
$25,000. Well, $125,000. I think if we all went in, we could afford it. But
Pass the bucket around.
pass the bucket. It includes 6.5 acres of Frederick Law Olmsted designed landscape, including the docks here. We'll throw those in for you, but unfortunately not the boats. Your freckles are going to come out today. I love this beautiful cobblestone bridge off to the left.
You wanted to see the Highlands downstairs?
Yeah, Frederick Law Olmsted design. We're in an area called Brenton Cove, named after William Brenton, and he became one of the largest landowners in all of New England. You've been on Ocean Drive? Sure. I want you back and or think forward. Imagine what that skyline might look like if we were still one of the 5 largest cities. What would you see? Skyscrapers, elevated freeways, jumbo jets flying overhead, pollution. So I always like to thank our friends from England for burning our city to the ground, which they did so in 1776. 200 homes were destroyed, and the city pretty much was left in ruins. It never regained its momentum, certainly at least for the next 70 years until the beginning of the Gilded Age. the deepest bay in the United States, second deepest in North America, only to that of the Bay of Fundy in New Brunswick. It reaches depths of close to 200 feet. And that allows aircraft carriers and cruise ships and big freighters comfortable and safe passage.
The breeze is nice, huh?
Yeah.
How long has this boat been transferred from the lobster?
It's a real good question. I could ask Jeff that. I will. I think he's had it for about 20 years.
See the original?
He did the restoration, yeah. Not of the original.
Not of the boat,
Now you see that sign, it says cable crossing, and our guests know that, our previous guests know that there was a cable that stretched all the way from Port Adams across the bay over to Jamestown. And back in the 70s we were visited by a cruise ship from the Disney company, the big red cruise ships that maybe you've read about. And they visit us in September and October every year. This year I think we've got a little over 100 ships scheduled in. They'll work the New England coast before the winter season down in the Caribbean. But the Disney cruise ship forgot one thing. Well, the captain forgot one thing. That was to lift his anchor. To drag that cable about 800 yards out in Naragansett Bay, it finally snapped. And the lights and power, everything went out in Newport. Ditto to all the power and the lights and everything over in Jamestown Island. Both islands were in the dark for a couple days, and the Disney company finally settled up. They were fined hundreds of thousands of dollars. But surprisingly, that captain still works for Disney. He's no Goofy down in the Magic Kingdom. Called Hammersmith Farm. Mr. Auchincloss called the children together when Jackie was young and had a design competition. So he designed the most interesting building as a gift for his wife. And Jackie won that contest, and that lighthouse looking building sold about 5 years ago for $8.5 million. But Hammersmith Farm is where Jackie grew up, and where she and JFK and Carolyn and John would have spent their summer months. And that's where they had their wedding reception back in 1953, September 12th. 3,000 people were lined up on that lawn waiting over 5 hours to give their best to the handsome senator from Boston, Massachusetts, and blushing bride, Bouvier. And you see that boathouse? You guys know where that's from, right? Remember? What movie? Great Gatsby. Yeah, one of the most boring movies of all time. I sat through that 6 or 7 times. I keep falling asleep. I've never really seen the ending. And Jack would have kept his boat, the Honey Fits, there at Hammersmith Farm. Sold last year for $13 million, and first thing they did this summer was put those blue Adirondack chairs out and planted that coyote in the lawn to scare the seagulls. He's not real. He's not real.
I don't think it does keeping the birds away either. I used to put owls on all the time.
It's like they're setting up or taking down a clam bake. Looks like they're taking it down. That was here this weekend, and great spot. There's kept their clam bake, so put it all together for you. All you need is money and a guest list. At the end of this little cove is a Coast Guard station, and it was placed there to intercept the rum runners during Prohibition. Didn't work. Those rum runners could easily outpace the Coast Guard runners. They had jet engines. There are 2 more Gilded Age mansions off to the left is Ocean Cliff. It's straight ahead is Castle Hill. And they're both 5-star hotel properties with wonderful restaurants. And you can see these big tents. Newport's really a wedding capital of New England. Nothing like a Newport wedding. And this past weekend there were a ton of them. Castle Hill is one of my favorite spots to stop in. Castle Hill. Right before Brenton Point, as you drive down Ocean Drive, you'll see a big sign that says Castle Hill. Turn right and head up the driveway, and park your car and just wander down to one of those Adirondack chairs. There's the ferry up to the all right. South to Horsehead Farm that we saw earlier, the Wharton Estate. Well, that was too much for the Wharton family. They decided to move. They weren't keen on having the Army as neighbors, so they went and built where they would never be disturbed again. And you see the result straight ahead at Clingstone, the house on the rock.
Sorry, that's not the one. It's cool anyway.
We'll go right past Clingstone, talk a little bit more about it in a few minutes. There's submarine nets stretched all the way across the bay from Fort Weatherhill to Fort Adams to prevent the German U-boats from entering into Newport Harbor. And they worked. You see these rock outcroppings. They're called dumplings. There are about 26 of the larger ones scattered throughout the bay. And so the Whartons decided to build on one of the dumplings, and they called it Clingstone. Now when you get back, if you want to Google Clingstone, that doesn't sound too good, but Google your Clingstone, and there's a photo essay that was featured Clingstone in the 1938 as it did back in 1903. Completely self-contained, wind turbine on top, solar panels for electric, there's a cistern for water. And for your $8,500 a week rental, they'll throw in the dock on the other side and boat so you can get to Jamestown for your provisions. But there is one obligation. Whenever the cruise ships come through, September and October, you need to run up to that top deck and you drop your pants. They call it the Clingstone Salute. Rhode Island. Well, why the name Rhode Island? Well, after our friends from England paid us a call, leaving Newport in ruins, all the livestock were running free. The horses, the cows, the mules, goats, sheep, pigs. There was no timber for the corral fencing. The trees have been chopped down, used for firewood. So they decided to gather up all the livestock and they ferried them out to Rhode Island, let them run free here. Hooked animals don't like to swim, and there was no worry about them trying to escape the island. talk about 12 meters, we don't necessarily refer to the length of the boat, but rather the end result of a fairly complex formula that takes into account the mast, the beam, the sail area, a few other factors, the end result of which has to equate to 12 meters. That gives all the designers a little bit of flexibility in how they fashion these beautiful boats. Here's another one straight ahead, Columbia. Probably more than any other boat, it serves as the icon of Newport in the America's Cup, because that won the Cup here back in 1958, ushering in the modern era of the 12s. Boats are numbered, the 12 meters are numbered from 1 to 67. That's, of course, early in the series, US 16 Columbia. Shipyard. This is the largest, one of the largest shipyards in Eastern Seaboard. I call it the Betty Ford Clinic for rehabbing boats, because they'll go in there and get their barnacles scraped and the sails sewn and masts repaired. Ohana is means family or close family in Hawaiian.
The only thing I don't understand, Ma, is how you're wearing black right now. And jean pants.
I wasn't thinking of that. We just said, okay, let's do it, and then that's it. You know, we're winging it. You know,
I would imagine you're hot.
that's not bad, actually. On the boat, it's not bad. It's going to work.
If you like and you love some of these boats, feel free to walk down to the Newport shipyard. You can walk right in the gates and head down to the docks. There's a nice little cafe called Bell's for breakfast or lunch. You can talk to some of the crew aboard these boats. They'll tell you all about the boat and love to chat with you. They're from around the world, of course.
Yeah, we totally won't that.
But if you ask them who owns the boats, all of a sudden they forget that they can't speak English. Those are for satellite. It didn't win. And we also have Weatherly and American Eagle. We're coming up to Weatherly. This was Jack Kennedy's favorite 12-meter boat. Weatherly won the Cup in 1960. And right, it sits alongside American Eagle. That was Ted Turner's 12-meter boat. The Mouth of the South, Ted Turner. He would have raced the American Eagle. We have the largest collection of 12 meters left in the world today. It's pretty neat. And those boats are available for charter, team building exercises, what have you. And there's the beautiful spire of Trinity Church. Lies in front of Queen Anne Square. If you have a chance, walk through Queen Anne Square. Recently redesigned by Maya Lin, the architect responsible for the Vietnam War Memorial in Washington, D.C. Well, we're coming back to our home port here at the landing and Quidnick Lobster and the Lobster Bar. Looks like some folks are out here having an early lunch. How's the food? They don't have it yet. Good? One thumb up. Well, looks like Captain Jeff's going to back in now. He's never done this before, so... Oh, and look who's in his way. You going to be able to get through there, Jeff? There's only one way to find out. Oh, but I want to point out something now. Do you see there's a dock on the left? And we have another dock on the right. It's a paradox.
God.
Thank you, everyone. You've been great. On that note, hope you had fun out in the water with us today and come back and visit us. Tell all your friends about us. If you like us, go on TripAdvisor. We always appreciate good comments. If you don't like us or didn't like us, don't bother. Or Facebook. We like you on Facebook, too. And if you have any complaints, just take out a dollar bill If you're really upset, a $5 bill. Jot them on the back and drop them off at the
It was
food
great.
here.
What about you?
Captain will get back to you in
It
the
was
morning.
brilliant.
Yes, you give us the food. You don't mind, let's wait till the captain shuts down the engine and we put our little banister up here to help everyone exit the boat. And I'll give you the all clear. Thanks again, everyone.
Park is in here.
Yeah.
Brenton Point State Park. Brenton Point State Park, all these people sitting on the grass and on the rock.
Last time we came to Rhode Island, at least the last time I was here, we only drove past this spot. It was all misty that time, but now this is the coast of Newport, Rhode Island, and
Ocean Avenue.
Ocean Avenue, and that's what's called it. Is this beautiful or what?
gonna shine on everything you do. The sky's so blue. The sun's gonna shine on everything